Deja vu? It may seem like it since we've made the same announcement 3 times in the last 3 months, with this being number 4, but we are lowering our prices again. First, our 30-day All Access went from $349 to $299. Next, the 7-day All Access Pass went from $119 to just $99. And just a few weeks ago, despite our popular 3-day All Access Pass, it went down to $59 from $69. Next up is the 90-day All Access Pass, which is now officially dropped down to $749 from being $849, giving you 90 days of selections from your favorite handicapper for under $6 per week. Remember, purchased wager bucks can now be used the same as cash, including on our new lowered price, 3, 7, 30, and 90-day All Access packages, allowing you to save every day on every pick you buy.
Hey guys, welcome in and a very happy Wednesday to you here as we've got another fantastic college basketball game card here tonight. We're going to break down a few of these games for you, see if we can't find some value, a couple of edges, and we're going to do it with 3 of the finest at WagerTalk.com, including the red hot Drew Martin up top there, Adam Trigger in the house, and Tony Finn stepping in here on this Wednesday. Gentlemen, welcome in as it's a great card here tonight. A lot of very important conference games here, Drew. Do or die revenge spots. A lot of jockeying for position here. So tell us what you got, if anything, locked and loaded at WagerTalk.com on this Wednesday.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks for having me, man. Actually got a 5%, guys. A top play up and available at Wager Talk. 3-0, last 3, 16-6 run with the 5% plays as well. Number 1 in college basketball lifetime, and number 1 at Wager Talk year-to-date winning percentage. So it's going well, Joe. Great time in college basketball to get an advantage. I found one tonight, man. Had this one circled for a while. So let's get after it. Hopefully cash that, and hopefully cash the best bet here on the show coming up later.
Absolutely, guys. Red hot in his 5% best bets, guys. Drew is just crazy here. 16-6. All right, get a load of that number this year. 73% on his 5% best bets. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Do yourself a favor. Grab that play now. Trig, talk to me, UConn. Well done there. Another W in the win column for you last night. What do you got locked and loaded, if anything, tonight?
Joe, I haven't bet anything yet for today. I agree with you. It's going to be it's a great card of games to watch. Haven't found anything that reaches best bet status for me yet. But I kind of fired UConn later in the day yesterday, and it was my only play. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna invest a little more, go with the money line, and that turned out to be the right call there. As they get, I think you probably would have pushed depending on when you bet that, but they get it done for me. I'll definitely have something. There's a couple on my short list. I just haven't locked anything in yet. But one of those games we're going to actually talk about on the show. And yeah, we'll see what else develops from now until tip-off. But definitely check my page tomorrow because I already kind of have one I'm eyeing, and I will probably have a 5% for Thursday, regardless of what happens tonight.
All right, good stuff there. And Tony Finn, talk to us here, man. On this card tonight, have you? Again, no NBA until tomorrow. But you got anything locked and loaded in college hoops tonight for us?
I do have an NBA for tomorrow. Already locked into a parlay I started last night. I don't play a whole lot of parlays, but I played a little money line parlay with 1 point spread involved. That point spread happens to be on the NBA and on NBA event tomorrow. Last night wasn't horrible. It was a 3-1 night on the games, 3-2 if you consider. I split that. We may have a part of the panel here, Joe, that disagrees with me, but I thought there was one of the worst calls, late calls in a game I've seen this year was in that Villanova game when they called It was just horrendous. And I covered. I have a first half and a second half money line play on Nova against UConn, and I lose the first one by 1 point. And I would have pushed in the game. Maybe even I'd pushed in the game had I taken the 2. But I really thought Nova was a better team. They would go in there. They shoot free throws better. They do so many different things better. UConn was good enough, and that call cost me a perfect night. Let's say 3-1, 30. I'm 30-19 in February. So let's keep February going. I have 2 callers for tonight. You can get them only at WagerTalk.
All right. They are locked and loaded, guys, over at WagerTalk.com. Now let's kick it off with a little SEC battle here. Game number 1 we're going to talk about today is we're going to do a little Kentucky taking on LSU, and it's an interesting game here tonight, Drew. Kind of a rematch. We don't know the health of what this Kentucky team is. 6.5s and 7s I've seen in some spots here. What do you think about Kentucky at home taking on LSU? You like the dog, or you think it's the home team all the way for you?
You know what, Joe? It's sidewise. I actually probably lean with the dog. I really do. I think LSU is playing a lot better basketball of late. They're kind of riding under the radar. Of course, we know LSU plays good defense, and plus, you bring up the injury aspect on Kentucky. That might actually hold them back here. Now, granted, it isn't something I got to the window with sidewise. I actually bet this total. And some of the reason is Kentucky's really good, Joe. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the whole thing, win the national championship, that is. So I don't tend to usually look to bet against that type of caliber of team sidewise. How I'm going after this one, though, is on the total. We got 142, very reasonable total here, 2 talented teams. And yes, you think defense when you think LSU, right? And they are a good defense. But the fact is, they've actually cashed 7 of their last 8 to the over. And a large reason is because their senior point guard, Xavier Pinson, is back in the lineup. And they're actually an up-tempo team when he's playing. So sure enough, we've seen him cash the over tickets. And on the other side of things, Kentucky, they're a team where, their tempo seems to be, they'll go up tempo if their opponent wants to go up tempo. Now, they have had some lower scoring games at times, but you look at the last 2 teams that they've played that look to run up the court. That's South Carolina of recent, and it's also Alabama. They scored 90 against Alabama, 86 against South Carolina. So they're a team that, yes, they're 16-0 at home, but they'll also score with you. So at 142, I think both of these 2 teams light it up in Lexington tonight, Joe. I bet the over here.
All right, liking the over on it here. What do you think there, Trey? Where are you leaning towards here in this game tonight?
Oh, I pretty much agree with everything Drew just said. And I lean toward LSU as well, but it's not because of the potential injuries for Kentucky. Severe Wheeler and Ty Washington, one barely played and one missed that first meeting. And that's probably what's going to happen again here. I actually think both will be out. But I think that's baked into the line. The number feels correct to me. But with that being said, I think LSU matches up well with Kentucky. The reason being, LSU defends well, they rebound well, and Kentucky doesn't. Their shot selection is not great. Now, I had Alabama over the weekend. Kentucky ended up winning the game by 9, but the only reason Kentucky covered in that game was Kellen Grady, the fact that he hit a couple absurd shots down the stretch, probably more than a couple, and the second chance points for Kentucky. They sort of mask their poor shot selection with some tough makes at key times, and then their ability to rebound. But LSU can rebound and defend, and I think LSU is a significantly better team with Xavier Pinson on the floor. So I didn't get through the window with this one yet, but the way I'd be looking here is LSU plus the points. I guess it really comes down to me and the faith I have in LSU on the road. I haven't really been an LSU backer this year so far, but if you had to pin me down for a play in this game, I'm right with Drew. I'd probably look to take LSU plus the points.
All right, looking at LSU plus the points here, Tony Finn. What about you? How are you leaning in this game? Obviously, injury concerns, but How do you like the Kentucky Wildcats at home tonight?
I think both these guys have been spot on. I mean, everyone makes good points here. LSU, over the last 11, really, after a strong start, some good showings, 4-7 straight up, I believe, over the last 11, and a loss to South Carolina, which I think is a horrible loss for them. But this team, they attack. They're aggressive. They attack the basket. They know how to draw fouls. They know how to get the line. They're number 1 in the nation in steals. Here's the problem. Kentucky doesn't turn the ball over when it matters. I mean, the 15 they turned over against LSU the first time around when the Cats when they got beat was a little bit of an aberration. But if Kentucky hits their threes, you're not beating this team. They don't shoot the ball that well. They shoot. I mean, their shot selection isn't the best. But they're that talented. They're that talented, young, and this team continues to grow. They get better. The offense doesn't have to rely on threes. They get second chance points with rebounding. In the first matchup, LSU did a great job of competing on the boards with this Kentucky team. If they do that tonight, then you're probably better off taking the points. I'm not in this game, not in this room. I'm staying away from it. I think the number's about right. And I don't think Kentucky's one of those teams. I just don't think they care about covering. They don't care right now. Listen, Coach Cal is coaching this team to be ready for March, as he always does. They may look horrible in December, horrible in January. February, they come around a bit. In March, typically, his teams are ready to go, and they're hard to stand in front of. So I'm away from this game. If I was in this game, though, I would have a hard time stepping in front of Kentucky at home. If you don't shoot, I mean, LSU's only covers when they hold teams to 42%, 43% shooting and less. Tough to do at home. Kentucky's only done it like 6 times all year. So it will be Kentucky or nothing for me tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough venue for sure here, but big SEC matchup. Kentucky taking on LSU here tonight. Another big matchup happening in the Big Ten as we say hello to Michigan here with certainly a puncher's chance against Rutgers. -6 is what we're looking at here for an opening number. That's come down here a little bit against one of the hottest teams in the Big Ten in the country, really. Rutgers has been playing some great basketball. 135 is a opening total here, Trig. What do you think here about this Michigan squad, Sands, their coach there?
Well, Joe, that's come down because Rutgers is like the square dog of all square dogs tonight. But they've also been that way for a while now. And actually, you look at their schedule, they've covered 6 games in a row, all as an underdog. And shout out to our friend Kelly Stewart, who has pretty much given him out the whole way. And we even talked, the last 2 times they played, I'm like, oh, are we going to do Rutgers again? Like, they're such a square dog. And she's just like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to probably keep betting them until they don't cover. And they somehow, some way got it done over the weekend. Line was 12.5, 13. And they get it done against Purdue and only lose by 12. I don't think Howard being out really matters for Michigan. Like the acting coach will probably be Phil Martelli, who's a great coach. But like, is this the spot that Rutgers just gets slammed? Like, I think I could make more of a case for Rutgers in this game than I can like Michigan just going out and pounding them and winning by margin. Because I've been kind of, Michigan's been kind of a fade for me this year. So right now, like, I'm not looking to sort of jump in with Rutgers on the road, kind of, it seems like they've peaked for a while now, but like, if you've been kind of betting Rutgers this whole time, I'm not going to put you off taking one more shot. I mean, if you've been betting Rutgers the last couple of weeks, you've made money. So if you have to get involved in this game, I would say let it ride with Rutgers. I still think it's possible that Rutgers is undervalued, even with their recent performance. As long as Ron Harper's in there, like, this team is very good, and I think it's very possible that they're better than Michigan. So, I haven't seen what it is currently. If you can get, it might be down to like 4.5. I'd say I'd need at least 5. But I would look at Rutgers being a little undervalued. Unfortunately, I just think it's coming. I don't know if it'll be this game, but they're going to get pounded sooner or later. And that kind of scares me off.
Yeah, and it's not just Juwan Howard. They're missing two of their forwards as well, who were caught throwing bombs and haymakers in that craziness there over the weekend, Tony Finn. So, shorthanded Michigan Wolverines team at home here. Do they rally around Juwan Howard? What happens in this game, do you think, for Michigan?
That was going to be my intro here. Really, is if you know the answers to those questions that you just asked, Joe, then you have your arms wrapped around this game much better than I do. I would say this. Mr. Trigger made a good point. I would say this: if Phil Mart, if you're watching this show, and I'm certain you are, it would pay attention. It would behoove you to pay attention to Ron Harper Jr. and Geo Baker, because last time these two played, they got schooled by the guards. And in truth, this Rutgers team continues to get better, right, guys? It really does. And they play kind of a three-guard set. In truth, Ron Harper is playing the three. He's a forward in sense for Rutgers when they play this three-guard offense. So it's a tough matchup. Like I said, how does Michigan react to what happened? If this was a boxing match, maybe I would be on Michigan undoubtedly, right? And we had Howard in the corner. That would be. But this is the Wolverines' first game after Rutgers this season. They allowed Ron Harper 20 points, 7 of 13, 5 for 6 from 3 in that game, guys. Baker, he was even better. Scored 27, 10 of 15, 3 of 7 from the line. This is a game where I have a hard time backing Michigan. I want Michigan to do well. I root for Michigan. Lots of my friends, Michigan fans, even some here in our Wager Talk circle, big Michigan fans, right? However, Rutgers playing well. I don't know what to expect here. I'm going to surely have this game on my set or tape because I want to watch it.
So, Drew, 4 of 25 from 3 in that game against Wisconsin. Which is, and it's not just Wisconsin. Their last 3 games, they're not even hitting 20% from behind the arc. You're not going to win a lot of games that way if you're shooting that poorly because, 3 is more than 2 here, Drew. And this Rutgers team, they're not going to make it easy. Plus, they have the confidence of already beating them. So what do you think here about Michigan Rutgers tonight?
Love it, Joe. The little, the elementary mathematics education there, guys. 3 is more than 2, and that becomes very important in the sport of basketball. Joe, I just look at this one as kind of a rallying point here for Michigan. By the way, guys, looking out, this is actually a big time way of how I handicap basketball is looking at their upcoming schedule here and picking out a point where a team can cover some numbers for you. And I have Michigan circled here, Joe. I really do. Like we talk about on the college basketball show, Wager Talk YouTube, under the radar. Michigan might be riding a little bit under the radar. They have a 4-game homestand here with the new coach, Phil Martelli. I know Trig was talking about this. Talk about Juwan Howard. I actually think he's a good basketball coach overall. But I think more so for the recruiting aspect of things. Not that he's a bad X's and O coach. To tell you the truth, I really don't know. But I don't think that it's that big of a drop-off, if any at all, to Phil Martelli. This is a guy that's won over 400 Division I college basketball games in his career. He's been the head coach at St. Joe's for 24 years before coming to Michigan. So this guy knows X's and O's college basketball. You don't get that type of longevity being a head coach, not knowing what you're doing. So, in terms of a rallying cry here, a rallying point, if Michigan's going to make a run, the time is now. They are at home going up against Rutgers. Trig nailed it in terms of Rutgers has been covering numbers. Our friend KIV has been cashing some tickets on them. However, they've caught some teams kind of in the right spot, and most of their covers are coming at home in Piscataway. Now they're going on the road, a lot different team here as we hopefully get closer to MLB and finding pitchers that have those home road splits. The Scarlet Knights are a team with huge home road splits, 13 and 2 at home, 3 and 8 on the road. This is a Rutgers team outside of the top 100 in terms of offensive efficiency and outside of the top 200 in terms of overall effective field goal percentage. Those are 2 stats that I really like to look at here. I think Michigan's actually the better team. They won and covered on the road last time against Rutgers. Now they're back at home. I think it's a great spot to bet Michigan here. I love Big Blue.
All right, like in Michigan at home, both teams, similar situations here. This final stretch, wins against some top teams would go a long way heading into the Big Ten tournament and, of course, March Madness. So 7 o'clock Eastern time tip there, Michigan and Rutgers. We'll head out to the Mo Valley here and talk about a big one there with Mizzou State there laying 5.5, taking on Bradley. 140.5 is the opening number on this one. A big matchup here tonight for the home favorite Mizzou State. What do you think we get from them tonight, Tony Finn?
I think you get what you always get from Missouri State. This is a team that's they're consistent. They're disciplined. They shoot the ball. They do everything. Really, they do everything right. They don't do anything great, but they do everything right. This is a conference that is taking its lumps, isn't it, guys? I don't know what to think about this Missouri about going forward. I really don't. This is old school conference that was just amazing. The teams that were in this conference at one point in time, years and years ago. That said, I think this line, I was surprised a little bit about this line, to be completely honest. I thought Missouri State, who's scoring 77 a game, they outscore their opponents basically in conference by 9 points. They shoot 48% from the field. They hold their opponents to 42%. They give up some threes. They don't listen. They really sag and they make you hit your threes to win. So here it is. They're out rebounding their opposition by 4 a game. Bradley. I mean, they only turn the ball over 10 times per contest. Who makes the least mistake? Missouri State's at home. Give me Missouri State minus a small number. I think is a small number in this matchup.
All right. Well, there you go. I mean, Drew, we did see this game first week in January, and they were a 1-point favorite on the road at Bradley. It was 71-69, the final score. They did win it, but now
at
we
the
got
buzzer
a
too,
little
Joe.
bit of a – what's that?
On a ridiculous buzzer beater, they won that.
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yes, because I know somebody on this panel actually was on the other side there. But Drew, what do you think here? I mean, it's a big point swing here, 5.5. We only had one the first go around, and it was one bucket, as Trig pointed out. So, what do you think we get tonight from these two?
Sure, Joe. I mean, the Braves and the Bears going at it here at the MVC. Yeah, I mean, that time where Missouri Valley did win towards the end of the game, that was on the road. Now they're coming back home. And speaking on the other side of things, Bradley, the Braves here, 5-10 on the road. They're a lot better team at home, so the home road split's kind of coming into effect here. They're also only 67% from the free throw line. So I would actually look towards Missouri State here, Joe. I really would. 20-9 on the season. And we get this Foul Fest number here, minus 5.5 before the show, being the home team shooting 80% from the free throw line. One of the best teams in the country from the charity stripe. I think that comes into effect for the home team here. So I'd probably, if you made me bet this one, it's not one that I have bet. I would lay it with the favorite. That's the Bears of Missouri State.
Yeah, Missouri State at home. A lot of upperclassmen here, Trig, guys that have had a lot of success against Bradley in their careers here. So what changes tonight? Anything?
Well, just to go back to the first meeting for a second, I was not on that, but I did report sharp money on Bradley on our Hustle show. And Missouri State, I believe it was Mosley, like basically dribbled out to the three-point arc to bang a contested three at the buzzer to win the game. And I want to say Missouri State was like minus 1.5. So I'm pretty sure if you had Bradley, you did not cover in that game, if I remember correctly. I know this was put on the outline for Mid-Major Matt and I to have our complaining session about Missouri State, because him and I have been going back. This is going on for a couple of years now. I've been like a pro Missouri State guy for a couple of years, and every single time I decide to jump in with them, they can't cover. And that's what happened to me on Sunday. I took them +2 against Northern Iowa, and Northern Iowa hit 13 threes and shot 60% in the game, actually 58.9% in the game. Kind of goes off what Tony said. You know, they will let you shoot. I mean, that Northern Iowa game was ridiculous. AJ Green was hitting threes from half court. I mean, everything they threw up went in. Bradley is not going to shoot it like that. Now, Bradley can defend, and they really held Gage Prim. They kind of erased Gage Prim in the first game, which is like a little bit of a concern. But with that being said, what I've noticed with Missouri State is they tend to be far better against the number as a favorite when they are sort of in the, they tend to be better against the number as a favorite when they can just go out and beat what is a lesser team by margin. And, like the other two guys said before me, I don't think there's any question, in my opinion, that Bradley is like the lesser team here. They're on a nice run. They've won 4 of their last 5, but they've only won 2 games on the road in conference. One of those is against Evansville, who basically everyone has beat in this conference. And the other one was at Drake when they didn't have Tank Hemphill. You put Tank Hemphill in that game, it's probably a very different game. So this is like kind of on my short list. I haven't bet it yet. I typically don't love laying like 5-6 points. That just is not my typical profile of bet. But I think if I had to make a bet in this game, and it's very possible I might, I think Missouri State could really roll them. I think they're going to be focused after they really got embarrassed over the weekend by Northern Iowa in a game that was a very big game for them. It would have put them in first place. So I think we get a little bit of a bounce back effort at home from Missouri State tonight, and they probably get there in the end.
9 of their 14 home games have gone over as well here tonight, guys. So we'll see. They've been profitable to the over, and we'll see if that trend continues here tonight in the Mo Valley with Missouri State taking on the Bradley Braves. And like we said, a ton of games here tonight with a lot of meaning here down the stretch. Conference championships just around the corner. Will they or won't they? So now it is time to figure out. Drew, kick us off. Is there one of these games you might have circled you like a little bit more than the rest tonight on the card?
Yeah, Joe, I do have that 5% up, guys. That's the play I bet the most on tonight. But another one I like here, we actually just touched on it. Hey, Juwan Howard, not part of any team activities here. That means film room, practice, the whole bit. So one of the best things he did was hire associate head coach Phil Martelli, over 700 games experience at the head coach position, over 440 wins with St. Joseph's, knows his X's and O's, rallying point here for Michigan, going up against Rutgers. They've struggled on the road. I think Michigan gets it done. They've knocking down their free throws over 72% on the season. Let's go Big Blue. Lay the short number here, guys. -4.5 on Michigan.
All right, getting it done. Big Blue here. What do you think, Trig? I know you've been scouring the card here tonight. I know you pulled something out for us. Where are you going?
Yeah, no, it's tough, Joe. There's a lot of good games, but I think the odds makers got a lot of these numbers right. But for my best bet for the show, and the thing I'm sort of highest on so far, that could change throughout the day. But I do like Missouri State. I think they could really roll Bradley if they show up and give the effort that they're capable of, which I think is very possible coming off of a 20-point loss over the weekend where they really didn't play all that bad. It was just Northern Iowa shot. I mean, they shot 60%. If you shoot 60% in a college basketball game, you're probably going to win, and you're probably going to win by a decent amount. So I think Missouri State, Bradley is a lesser opponent, in my opinion, from Northern Iowa and from some of the other teams Missouri State has played of late. They're at home where they're better. And Bradley on the road, just not the same team. Like I said, they've won 2 road games in conference, and one was against Evansville, a horrible team, and the other was against a shorthanded Drake team. So Missouri State, they profile better. They cover more spreads as a favorite. They tend to be better as a favorite against the number than as an underdog. Line is like 5.5. I think the number's probably right, but it just feels like Missouri State gets there in the end. Maybe one big run in the second half, and they win it by 9 or 10 to get the money.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Should be a good one in the Mo Valley. What do you think here? Tony, Finn, which one of these games did you circle for us here tonight?
I went to the SEC tonight, and big spread. First and foremost, I like playing dogs, but I'm one of those handicappers. I play dogs I think can win the game outright. So I'm typically within that 6-7 point number, typically in college basketball. In the same place, if I obviously, if you want to play a favorite, you have to like them to win, right? But there's the deal. Good luck trying to get any offensive consistency out of the Ole Miss offense, guys who are backing them tonight. Oops, that would be me. I listen again, like I just explained, dogs, favorites, how I approach those. This is a case where I think the numbers it's elevated to the point where it's been skewed. Obviously, Auburn's the better team. I'm not saying that I think Mississippi or Ole Miss can win tonight. I'm saying that I'm not sure Auburn's just not one of those teams that's going to cover a 16-point line in a game that matters. And those who think Ole Miss may have thrown in the towel, guys, because of some of their failures recently and some of the injuries and the illnesses. I expect JJ to be back tonight. And I expect, listen, I don't know about these guys. Big fan of Kermit Davis. The Ole Miss coach. You saw what he did. He'll throw in a 2-3 zone. He throws in zones. And the last time they played Auburn, they really confused Auburn. They confused this offense. They threw in a 2-3 zone. Auburn started 3 of 11 from the outside. After they got kind of elevated and they started penetrating and finding the open spots against that zone, they succeeded, but they didn't cover. I like Ole Miss tonight getting 16 and a game that I think that if Auburn wins, it's going to be one of those games where they just put it on cruise control and they win by 8, 12, 10 in that area. Mississippi plus 16 seems to be a hell of a value tonight. Give me the Rebels plus the points.
All right, taking the over 2 TDs in that matchup there. Auburn, Drew was just waiting for you to say Auburn was going to lose, by the way. I saw him lean up here a little bit on the chair as he was rotating in. Like, I dare you, Finn. I dare you to say it. Our friends from the Gold Sheet, they've got a play of the day. And, boy, they were spot on with the University of Miami yesterday. Unfortunately, Steve Merrill thought it would behoove him to go Pittsburgh. That didn't work out all that well, Merrill, did it? So our friends from the Gold Sheet play of the day, they are back in the Johnnies here tonight, looking to go for a clean sweep this week as they, I believe 5 is the current number in there, somewhere in that ballpark, taking on Creighton, the Johnnies at home, taking on Creighton. And this is a great write-up, guys. I would encourage you to head over to our Twitter page and check it out. We post the Gold Sheet plays of the day as soon as we're done here. Great write-up. And, of course, if you head to thegoldsheet.com, great handicapping tools, more write-ups on the game. Really great stuff, guys. Make sure you check it out. Gold Sheet play of the day. All right, so yesterday we went with Richmond to get it done as a double digit, and they did. They blew them out there last night. Tonight, I'm going to go with a dog. The number doesn't make any sense to me. I get the better team, the more profitable team, the better defensive team, better rebounding team. Oh, yeah, and they've already beaten Colorado State once, and now you want to give them 7 points. It makes zero sense to me. They have been absolute money, Wyoming, this year here, guys, especially as a dog. Defense travels. It's going to travel again tonight to Colorado State. Give me the 7 points there against Colorado State. And our recap one more time with Drew Martin. And a quick reminder, guys, Drew, his 5% best bet is up and locked and loaded at WagerTalk.com, guys. Nobody hotter, especially with his 5% plays. 16-6, guys. 73% on those top-notch plays there. Go grab it right now. In the meantime, though, he's siding with Michigan. Big Blue to get it done. Laid a 4.5 at home against Rutgers. Trigg likes the Mo Valley. I think he just talked himself into a play right now. Missouri State laid a 5.5. He's getting it done here tonight over Bradley. Tony Finn says, listen, Ole Miss ain't going to win. I'll be damned if I'm going to give somebody 16 points. I'll take those 16 points with Ole Miss against Auburn. I'm going to take the touchdown, 6.5 or 7 with Wyoming, guys. I don't understand that one at all. And the Gold Sheet play today, go with the Johnnies, guys, taking on Creighton at home. Lay the 5. In addition to Drew's 5% best bet at WagerTalk.com. Tony Finney told you he's got a couple of best bets right now, including a 5%er in the NBA for tomorrow as it kicks back off there. So make sure you head over, visit Tony at WagerTalk.com, pick up those plays. And as sure as I'm sitting here, before the games tip off, there will be an Adam Trigger play that you can grab at WagerTalk.com. I'm assuring you that something's going to pop.
Oh, yeah, no, we'll get there with something.
Oh,
Guy had UConn yesterday. It ended up ended up winning. I'm probably going to wait to see what pops and fire something out. Yeah, no, I will have something tonight.
Drew and I have a bet. It's going to be Washington State, but that's for another time. Guys, in the meantime, guys, go like that page, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner, and then make plans to come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Another big card all week long in college hoops. We have you covered. On behalf of Drew, Trig, and Tony Finn, guys, appreciate you hanging with us. Best of luck with the plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Deja vu? It may seem like it since we've made the same announcement 3 times in the last 3 months, with this being number 4, but we are lowering our prices again. First, our 30-day All Access went from $349 to $299. Next, the 7-day All Access Pass went from $119 to just $99. And just a few weeks ago, despite our popular 3-day All Access Pass, it went down to $59 from $69. Next up is the 90-day All Access Pass, which is now officially dropped down to $749 from being $849, giving you 90 days of selections from your favorite handicapper for under $6 per week. Remember, purchased wager bucks can now be used the same as cash, including on our new lowered price, $3, $7, $30, and 90-day All Access packages, allowing you to save every day on every pick you buy.